Why is it that some people can walk into a first date looking completely ordinary, yet leave having made an extraordinary impression? What if I told you there's something far more magnetic than physical appearance, something that creates an instant connection that looks simply can't compete with? Think about it. We spend hours obsessing over our outfit choices, our hair, our skin, hoping that our external presentation will make someone fall for us. But what if we've been focusing on the wrong thing this entire time? The truth is, when it comes to attraction, there's a psychological force at work that runs deeper than anything physical ever could. And today, I'm going to show you exactly what it is and how to use it on your very next date. This isn't about manipulation. It's about understanding a fundamental human need that, when fulfilled, creates an almost immediate sense of connection. First dates aren't really about impressing the other person with how you look or how interesting your life is. Those things matter, sure, but they're secondary to something far more powerful. First dates are about one thing: making the other person feel seen. Pause and let that sink in. Making someone feel truly seen is perhaps the most attractive thing you can do. More attractive than perfect hair, more compelling than designer clothes, more memorable than an expensive restaurant. But what does it mean to make someone feel seen? And why is it so powerfully attractive? When I say making someone feel seen, I'm talking about the art of genuine curiosity and attention. It's about creating a space where the other person feels valued, understood, and important. Most people walk into dates carrying an invisible weight, the weight of wondering, will they like me? Am I good enough? There's this constant underlying anxiety about being judged. And what do we do with this anxiety? We try to counteract it by talking about ourselves. We list our accomplishments. We tell our most impressive stories. We try to paint the most attractive picture possible. But here's the painful irony. While we're busy trying to impress, we're actually creating distance. We're performing rather than connecting. The person across from us is doing the exact same thing. And so, two people sit across from each other, both performing, both anxious, both missing the opportunity for genuine connection. This is why so many first dates feel awkward and ultimately forgettable. But what if you took a completely different approach? What if, instead of focusing on being impressive, you focused entirely on being interested? This is where the magic happens. When you walk into a date with the primary goal of discovering who this person truly is, what lights them up, what they care about, what they dream about, something remarkable shifts. The other person begins to feel valued in a way that's genuinely rare. They feel the relief of not having to perform. They feel the pleasure of being truly heard. And here's the psychological truth that makes this so powerful. Humans are starving for authentic attention. In a world of constant distraction, where half listening has become the norm, genuine focused attention has become one of the scarcest resources. When you offer it freely and sincerely, it feels like a gift. But let's be practical. How exactly do you make someone feel seen on a first date? It starts with a mindset shift. Rather than thinking of a date as an audition where you need to sell yourself, think of it as an exploration. You're an anthropologist about to discover a new and fascinating culture, the culture of this unique individual sitting across from you. When you meet them, make eye contact, not in a creepy way, but in a "I'm fully present with you" kind of way. Put your phone away, not just on the table, but completely away. Nothing communicates you're not important, quite like glancing at notifications. Then, ask questions, but not the standard, boring first date questions that everyone asks. Go deeper. Instead of, what do you do for work? Try, what part of your work do you find most meaningful? Instead of, do you like your job? Ask, when was the last time you lost track of time doing something you love? Instead of, where did you grow up? Ask, what's a memory from childhood that still makes you smile? The difference is subtle, but profound. Standard questions get standard answers. Thoughtful questions invite thoughtful reflection. But asking good questions is only half the equation. The other half, the part most people miss, is how you listen to the answers. Most people listen with the intent to respond. They're formulating their next story while the other person is still talking. This isn't real listening. It's just waiting for your turn. True listening happens when you're fully absorbed in what the other person is saying. You're noticing the emotion behind their words. You're catching the subtle cues in their expression. You're following the thread of their thoughts rather than imposing your own. And when they finish speaking, you don't immediately jump to your similar experience. Instead, you reflect back what you heard or ask a follow-up question that shows you were really paying attention. That sounds like it was really important to you. What was it about that experience that affected you so deeply? I noticed your expression changed when you mentioned your brother. Do you two have a close relationship? This kind of attentiveness creates a feedback loop. The more genuinely interested you are, the more comfortable they become sharing authentic parts of themselves. The more they share, the more interesting they become to you. It's a virtuous cycle of connection. Now, I can already hear some of you thinking, but if I'm just asking questions and listening, won't I seem boring? Don't I need to impress them too? This is a common fear. but it fundamentally misunderstands human psychology. Here's the truth. People don't remember what you tell them nearly as much as they remember how you made them feel. When someone feels truly heard and understood, they associate those positive feelings with you. They leave the date feeling good about themselves and, by extension, good about the time they spent with you. This doesn't mean you should never talk about yourself. That would be strange. But it does mean that your primary focus isn't on showcasing yourself, it's on discovering. And here's the beautiful paradox. When you stop trying so hard to be interesting, you become infinitely more interesting. Think about it from your own experience. Who do you find more attractive? Someone who talks endlessly about their achievements, or someone who makes you feel like the most fascinating person they've ever met? The most charismatic people aren't those who dominate conversation. They're the ones who make others feel seen, heard, and valued. This approach also takes enormous pressure off. You don't need to come prepared with impressive stories or rehearsed jokes. Your curiosity is enough. Let's talk about another important aspect of making someone feel seen: validation. Validation doesn't mean agreeing with everything they say. It means acknowledging their experiences and feelings as real and legitimate. When someone shares something vulnerable, a past disappointment, a future worry, even just an unusual opinion, simple phrases can create powerful connection. That makes sense to me. I can understand why you'd feel that way. Thank you for sharing that with me. These responses communicate something essential. You're not judging. You're creating a space where they can be authentic without fear. This might sound simple, but it's remarkably rare. Most of us have been conditioned to immediately offer solutions or counterpoints when someone shares something difficult. We think we're being helpful, but often we're just shutting down vulnerability. True validation is the art of being with someone in their experience without trying to change it, and it's incredibly attractive. While your focus should be on discovering, sharing parts of yourself creates balance and builds trust. When you do share about yourself, do it in a way that continues the conversation rather than dominates it. After sharing something, return to curiosity. Have you ever experienced something similar? This creates a dance of discovery rather than parallel monologue. Now, I want to address what might be the biggest objection to this approach. What if I'm genuinely not that interested in them? Should I fake curiosity? The answer is simple. No. Feigned interest is transparent and manipulative. The magic of this approach is in its authenticity. But here's what I've found. Most people are far more interesting than they first appear. Everyone has dreams, fears, stories, and perspectives that are uniquely their own. If you can't find something genuinely interesting about the person across from you, the problem might be with your curiosity, not with them. The beautiful thing about this approach is that it's not just effective, it's fulfilling. By focusing on making others feel seen, you create the kind of meaningful connections that are increasingly rare in a distracted world. So on your next date, instead of worrying about how you look, focus simply on making the other person feel seen. Be genuinely curious, listen deep, validate freely. It's more attractive than any outfit you could wear, more compelling than any story you could tell, and more memorable than any restaurant you'd choose. Because in the end, what we're all really looking for isn't someone perfect. We're looking for someone who makes us feel perfectly understood,